begins. You cannot control everything, Strange. I did what I had to do to protect our world. You opened the doorway between universes, and we don't know who or what will walk through it. It was the only way.
I'm sorry, Stephen. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished.
So, I mean, come on, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, come on, what better way to start this show? Welcome to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. I am Ken. Blaze, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Listen, Doctor Strange Brew as the name of our show. Couldn't get any better. We got Doctor Strange. It's Craft Beer Week. Did you know it's Craft Beer Week?
I did. That's why I actually have mine.
Cheers.
So, how's everything going?
It's been going really good. If you can see behind me, you see palm trees. It's definitely not New York.
Where are you? Are you in your own multiverse or something? What is that?
It kind of feels like it. I'm in Florida. I'm in Fort Lauderdale by the sea, technically, and it's beautiful here. I'm loving it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. How's your week been?
Not bad. It's been going all right, but ultimately, I mean, it got better because I got to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Absolutely.
So you?
I also did. Yes.
I was so happy with this film. It met expectations. It went into weird places that I didn't expect. There's some places I wished it might have gone into, but didn't. But I'm a Benedict Cumberbatch fan. I like him as Doctor Strange. Actually, I am a Benedict Wong fan, and I love Wong. Anytime that they put him on screen, I'm a happy little Ken.
I actually felt like Olsen. She was really good in this. I really was happy to see her have so much screen time, and I did think a lot of parts she stole the show in a lot of ways, especially being a Sam Raimi directed film. It really lived up to that. So,
well, let's talk about a couple of these things because you brought up Elizabeth Olsen, Wanda first. Did you see WandaVision going into this?
I did, yes. I feel like you had to have seen it in order to see this movie.
I was just going to ask you. I mean, anyone who hadn't seen it, I highly recommend checking it out first because that show carried a lot of weight going into this. It's essentially this is a sequel to that to that series.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, though, what did you think about? And this is a spoiler, but what did you think about never seeing Vision?
I was torn. There is a very logical reason why Wanda does what she does in this movie, and for her, it's all about family, which is what WandaVision was about too. But the fact that that we didn't really see Vision in it kind of surprised me. And why wasn't that part of her goal?
Right. Yeah, I agree. Like it felt. I don't want to say like something was missing, but yes, something was missing for me in that respect.
So one of the things I'll posit here though is, in a weird way, I think Wanda realizes that she still has access to Vision in her world, because at the end of WandaVision, spoiler alert, a second Vision was created, and at the end, the original transferred his memory patterns into the new one, and he flew off. And I'm guessing to assess what happened to him.
Right.
So I'm thinking she already has access to another Vision. Hopefully, eventually will become hers if the memories are there, and maybe that is why she wasn't as overly concerned.
Right. Okay. I mean, I guess I could understand that. That's why we do this show, to reason out and get into Sam Raimi's mind a little bit, at least, to see, kind of where things could go with the next one. Let's actually talk about Sam Raimi a little bit and his body of work.
I had jumped up and down for joy when I heard he was doing this a while ago. One of my all-time favorite directors. I was a huge fan of the Evil Dead series. One of my favorites from 1990, Darkman. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I have.
Liam Neeson. Do you know the history of that movie?
No.
Sam Raimi with Universal had wound up obtaining the rights to do The Shadow back in 1988 or 89. I think it was right after he came off of Evil Dead 2. and he got the rights. Unfortunately, he couldn't put everything together and finance it fast enough, so the rights reverted back. But he still wanted to tell a story. So when he couldn't do the Shadow anymore, he's like, "Well, I'm just going to create my own type of superhero pulp character," and that's how he got Darkman. It was awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, his
What
his
else? We
horror
got
stuff,
Spider-Man. We got Spider.
Spider-Man. He's known for horror mostly. So you got Drag Me to Hell. He produced a lot of movies. I believe he was a producer for The Grudge and some of those films as well. Um,
The Quick and the
he,
Dead.
The
He
Quick
did
and the
that one.
Dead. What a great cowboy movie or western movie. For the Love of the Game with Kevin Costner. You know, you can always tell a good Kevin Costner movie if it's about baseball.
That'll be another episode down the road when we do a baseball episode.
Especially if Sam Raimi's directing it. Actually, there's another little thing about Sam Raimi. Except for The Quick and the Dead, he's always hit a little Easter egg in all of his films, and it's the same Easter egg. I believe it's his 1978, 77, or 78 Oldsmobile. It's been in
Ah,
every single one of his movies except for The Quick and the Dead. And when he's questioned about it at shows and panels and stuff, he said, "Oh, it was there. It was just outside and nobody could see it, or it wasn't on screen and nobody could see it." But he calls it the classic. And for the life of me, I know I wanted to be looking for it for throughout the entirety of Doctor Strange. There was just too much going on that I just gave up because the whole thing was just like a visual explosion in your face.
yeah, 100%. What did you think, like, in terms of just the actual character of Doctor Strange, right? Um, do you know how many people were up for that role? Can you envision anybody else now, though, playing Doctor Strange than Benedict Cumberbatch? Like, truly. So we had Keanu Reeves, Johnny Depp, Ethan Hawke, Ewan McGregor, Justin Theroux, which I think he might have gotten the furthest actually. Do you remember anybody else that was up for? Oh, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin
I
Phoenix.
never researched any of that, to be honest. That's insane.
Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal, Tom Hardy, which we know Gyllenhaal went on to do,
Mysterio.
Mysterio, and then Tom Hardy, Venom. But yeah, I thought it was so interesting to hear all of the names of those that were up for it. Is there anybody else that you could see in that role besides him?
No, going into it years ago, there was always a rumor that it's the Marvel Comics films Tom Cruise problem. Every Back in the late 80s, early 90s, or mid 90s, every time there was the possibility of a Marvel movie or even a comic book movie coming up, Tom Cruise was always attached to it. For like, I think almost 10 years, Tom Cruise was attached to being part of Iron Man years before, we got Robert Downey. I believe at one point they considered him for a Doctor Strange movie, like again, like 20 something years ago. I couldn't see that either. But
Yeah.
you mentioned Keanu Reeves. The good news about that is I believe he's been signed and is going to be in one of the upcoming Marvel films. I want to say it might be Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but I'm not 100%.
Ooh, I would love that. I
Yeah.
like him. Oh, Jared Leto, he was another one. And
Oh,
then, he's Morbius. So it's very interesting how, and I forget there was one other that I kind of thought was interesting, which could work with the girl who played Christine.
Rachel
In
McAdams.
Yeah, it was Ryan Gosling.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
that could be
the
interesting.
Notebook. Is that what it was?
The Notebook
Oh,
that they
okay.
did
Yeah, yeah.
together. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, it's interesting because we're going to be doing something special later on too, as we're talking about casting. We have some fun casting uh things going on later on in this episode, so stay tuned for those.
Yeah, and what
So
did you think of the different acts? First, second, third. Did you feel like they flowed well? Did you what were your takes on that?
yeah, I think that was the things watching the whole movie. A lot of it didn't even. I didn't even. Again, it all happened so quickly at times that I just went for this ridiculous ride that was just taking ups and downs.
Right.
Like I didn't even look at it as, oh yeah, well this is the beginning and middle and third act. Um, and even the third act, I mean, if we put it that way, really kind of impressed me and surprised me by the end,
Right.
and some really cool reveals by the end of the movie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, so actually, well, I would rate this. You know what? Out of a 5, I would definitely give this 4.5. I think it's probably one of the better films, and it set the stage for so much moving forward.
It did. It did. I'm right there with you. I think 4.5 is pretty spot on. Um, I definitely felt like, the name, Multiverse of Madness, it almost felt like it was Multiverse of Mom. Like, 'cause it was so that centered, it was Wanda, and the Scarlet Witch. I felt like it was such a huge part of the movie, but so many lessons to be learned too throughout the movie. I definitely got teary eyed a few times. Understood the idea of like that lost love. Kind of feeling that he's in one, and then he's like, well, maybe I can do it different in a different,
Yeah.
different universe. And so I really loved that
Well,
idea of it, for sure. But
I'll throw one more at you real quick, and then we'll wrap
yeah,
this up. But so again, Wanda was very centric to this film. Um, her character, did you empathize at all? Like, did you actually feel for her, agree with
yeah.
anything that she was doing?
It's not that I agreed with what she was doing, but there are great lengths that people go to, to have children, or to have family around them, or to kind of extend their family. So I didn't, obviously, intellectually and integrity wise of half the stuff she did, I don't agree with, obviously, but it's a movie. But I definitely sympathized with her. I even sympathized with Doctor Strange several times when he would ask somebody, are you happy? Like, to me, when somebody asks you if you're happy, it usually is a projection that maybe you're not, or that you're just wondering. And I remember, like, at the beginning of the movie where he does not give Wong that, anything about him being supreme, anything. Like, he just kind of wouldn't give him anything. But then towards the end, I think once he had lost Christine again, and all of that, and I just thought that the whole Wong sequence with him towards the end there, that he finally kind of gave him his due there.
Yeah.
It definitely hit for sure. How about you? What was your thoughts on all of that?
Um, it was an interesting take on what we do to hold on to something that you know we care about,
Hmm.
maybe more than anything.
Right.
Um, for Doctor Strange, it was, I think, more of a realizing, coming to grips that there could be much more, or there could be worse. He could be a worse person, and throughout this, we keep being told that he's not a good person, and it's him fighting with the fact of saying, well, am I like these others that I'm being told about across the span of multiple, in infinite worlds, you know.
Right.
I think it made him question himself a lot about who he is, considering his how he starts off and how we are introduced to him. He's an egotist. He's stubborn, and he thinks he's God's gift.
Right. I mean,
You
that
know,
arrogance, coupled with, though, the humor, the wit, the humanity, in a lot of ways. But you see that in all the different Marvel movies, that he still has that arrogance, he still has that, but then that you see that human. I did relate more with Wanda in this movie than Doctor Strange. But when I say relate, I mean like empathize more with her, maybe because she was the villain.
right,
But it's hard to put her as the villain, with kind of everything that she's been through and the things that she had to do,
right,
save other people, at your own expense. So it's, to her own expense, at least. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. For sure.
right, right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so again, third week of the show, I've been trying to figure out how you're going to tie your segment Beachcombing with Blaze into a topic like this. Can you give a little bit of a insight, or should we just go into it and then you can explain later, or what do you want to do here?
I think once we said it's craft beer week, and then Doctor Strange was involved, it didn't take me very long to think about what would put the two together and make it work. So let's roll the clip and see what I came up with this week.
All right.
To the oceans white with foam. There's foam on the top of your mug of beer and lots of foam in the ocean. Have you ever wondered what it's made of? It's basically tiny pockets of air surrounded by water made of dissolved organic materials like phytoplankton. Picture a washing machine. The high tides and churning waves are like the twisty, turny moves caused by the agitator in the middle of the machine. The detergent is the organic matter. Bubbles begin to form and stick together. That's the foam. The foam is super light, so it floats to the top and is brought to the shore by the tide and the winds. Most foam is harmless, but be more cautious though if you see a lot of it and it's not white but a brown or reddish color. That may be the result of a red tide, also known as an algae bloom. When those bubbles pop, your eyes could become irritated and some people could even have trouble breathing. If you want to play in it, I'd also think again. Sea snakes are attracted to it, and although not aggressive unless it's mating season, they are still very venomous. Well, until next time, explore, learn, love the adventure.
All right, so you got some explaining to do here. I think we might actually have some explaining to do also, because there's something very strange going on.
New universe. We dreamwalked. We fell asleep really quick. We dreamwalked right into new bodies, new clothes. All right, but I have to ask Ken, the ensemble. What's going on?
I don't know. I blinked into a world where apparently capes are a thing. Everyone walks around, and I've got underwear on my head.
I'm like, I actually feel like I went to a really nice, like, very parallel. Very parallel. I would wear this in a heartbeat. So
Yeah. You lucked out. I have underwear on my head. Can we please rush through this? Hopefully we can jump to another universe.
Yes. Well, it's still in this universe. It is still craft beer week. So
Thank God. I need some right now.
let's have a little sip. You at home, if you'd like to have a sip as well, join us.
I don't want to know how this beer's evacuating itself from me based on what I'm wearing on my head.
You know what? That was another cool part I liked in the movie was all of the food references as they went from universe to universe. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, with the pizza balls or the pizza, whatever it was, that they were selling on the street, it was just like globs of like cheese, and they just like picked it up and ate it, and it was like a big thing. I'll ask you. I'll put you on the spot, possibly.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you think one of the weirdest things or the strangest things you've ever eaten was?
Strangest thing. I mean, probably something covered in chocolate, like a chocolate covered cricket. I think I tried that one time.
Okay.
That's definitely, but you know what though? The way that they sold it to me was they mentioned like lobster. They said like, how crab and lobster are bottom feeders. And I love crab and lobster. So I was like, what's the difference? And it was chocolate covered. So it kind of, it was fine. I wouldn't do it again. It was gross. The crunch didn't work for me, but
Okay.
how about you? Right back at you.
I've done some weird things. I mean, I've done the insect thing, which was okay. I've done alligator. Um, I've oh God, this is gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. One New Year's, after having a little too much to drink, decided I was gonna pull some some White Castle hamburgers, frozen hamburgers out, and drop them in a deep fryer without breading them. And yeah, don't know why. Again, wasn't thinking, and can't explain it. Actually, it was New Year's, and I was probably way out of my head, and it was vile. It woke me up. It was vile.
Well, you know who does not make anything vile and who I'm sure has something very strange and interesting for us would be Nicole from In the Kitchen. So let's roll that clip and see what she's got for us.
Nicole, help get me out of this universe, please.
Blaze and Ken, we're talking all things strange, so you might find this snack a little strange, but I'm going to challenge you to enjoy something that's super quick, easy, and nutrient dense. You might feel some kind of way about cottage cheese, but let me tell you, this dairy aisle staple is where it's at. If you feel like you're rifling through the cabinets late at night, it might be because you're not getting enough protein throughout the day. So that's one. Half a cup is going to provide 16 grams of protein, and we're aiming anywhere between 20 and 30 at every meal. I'm going to top this off. Remember that delicious marg we made a couple of weeks ago? Well, I'm gonna take, call me crazy, pickled jalapenos and a little bit of peanut butter. Again, inexpensive, nutrient dense, and we need that healthy fat and fiber to keep us full. Last but not least, ooh, got a little loud in here. Last but not least, I think you should top it off with a little bit of the now eponymous everything bagel seasoning. So what do we got? We've got cottage cheese. We're gonna rock it out with pickled jalapenos. Call me crazy. I'm topping it off with peanut butter and everything bagel seasoning. Call me strange? Maybe a little bit. I challenge you to try it. And Ken and Blaze, that goes for you too. Back to you. Happy Doctor Strange week.
Thank you, Nicole. Because whatever happened, we are in apparently an obviously a different universe because I'm wearing something different. And I have some new accoutrement that I'm very happy about. We are
Which
now in a world where
whoa,
can't
fantastic.
wait to
And I
snap
went
that
French.
finger.
And I think I went French or something. Like different color, but French, like with the hat. I have no idea.
All right, so I teased a little something earlier about casting, and one of the things that Marvel has announced is they're going into production for a new Fantastic Four movie. And I'm stoked because Fantastic Four was one of the first books I ever read as a kid growing up. It's one of the earliest cartoons I remember growing up. And going back in a weird way to what we were talking about in Doctor Strange, Fantastic Four has always been about family and what they would do for each other as family. And finally knowing that Marvel's got the rights for this, I got super excited. So I figured let's get a little creative. I don't even know if they've cast yet completely because nothing official's come out. But I figured I thought it'd be cool if you and I actually went through and did our own picks of who we would cast as the Fantastic Four. What do you think?
I love it. By any chance, do you know when the original comic came out? Like what year?
Yeah, it was pretty early on. It was back in 1961, actually. I remember the cover's iconic. It's this giant monster coming up out of the ground, and it's fighting them. You know, one of them's being held in its giant hand, and they're all it's iconic. It's super iconic. It's like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's like greatest creations. I'll be honest.
Hmm, absolutely. So then let's start with you. Who are your picks
Oh,
and why? I have to know why.
okay. So my first one. Let's start with the big guy of the group, the big brain of the group, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic himself.
Yeah.
I decided to go with Daniel Radcliffe,
Okay.
Harry Potter. I think he's got a great look for the character, and he's a little bit younger than, say, most of the other guys that are kind of getting cast. Actually, I mean, he's an older guy now, but he still looks kind of young. And I kind of have a little bit of a theory in my eyes about how you would introduce the FF. And if you remember back in Captain America Civil War, one of the events that we start off at is Tony Stark at the September Foundation
Okay.
party.
Yeah.
The September Foundation was a program created by Tony Stark to fund schools and young prodigies in their education. Who's to say that Reed Richards wasn't one of the people that accepted a scholarship from Tony to go out and become a genius and change the world?
Hmm. Okay. I get it.
And now that Tony's no longer with us, why not have someone to carry the legacy of Tony through this foundation and keep the spirit alive?
I like it. I like
So
it.
so I picked Daniel Radcliffe as the guy to come back and say, look at what I did for the world and spent all of Tony's money on. What about you?
So not a spoiler because we've already talked about a lot of spoilers, but I'm actually going John Krasinski.
Oh, okay.
I am. You know why? I feel like that little scene that we saw, which was so quick, it felt like, just kind of brushed the surface. And I feel like with his humor, with his, just his whole, who he embodies and things like that, I just feel like he'd be a really good Reed. So I will say though, just moving on to Sue real quick, I
Right, 'cause
actually did not pick Emily Blunt.
you didn't. I'm
I didn't.
surprised.
No, it's funny, but the first person that came to my mind um, was Blake Lively. They're
Really?
friends. They're friends anyway, so there's going to be some chemistry between them. Ryan won't get mad. Emily won't get mad, and I just when I look at Blake too, I just think she's darling. Like there's just something, but she's smart. She's, I don't know if you saw her on the red carpet at the Met where she changed dresses on the carpet, like literally it was she had these long sleeve or these gloves on, long gloves, and she had this beautiful gown on, and Ryan was even surprised when he saw it. But basically it was like an homage to the Statue of Liberty, and the color that it changes when it oxidizes, so it goes from that copper color to greenish, right?
Okay.
So that what we know the Statue of Liberty as now.
Right.
So it literally, her gloves came off to new gloves that were green. Her dress was just brought down, and it was phenomenal. And she was so cute. She doesn't have like airs about her. And I guess some Sues could be played that way, but I actually really like that she just has this different energy to her. And I don't know, I just think that it would work, the two of them paired up. So that's my pick. Who's your Sue?
Well, actually, go back to yours too. That
Yeah.
that would be that's one of the greatest power couples right now, because if that does happen, we would actually have a couple that were in Green Lantern together and then both cross over into Marvel films.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my Sue, I was torn, and I know normally when I do this, I make sure that I only go down to one person, but I couldn't choose this one. One of my favorite actresses right now, I don't know if you know her, is Samara Weaving. She was in the Babysitter movies on Netflix, and she
Mhm.
was in a fantastic movie called Ready or Not that came out about like 2 years ago or so. I think she's an incredible character actress, and she's got a great look, and I think that she could totally pull off Sue. Um, the other one I'm torn about. Again, I'm
Is
trying
it
to keep a.
Hermione? I got to interrupt. Is it Hermione?
No, it's not
Oh,
Hermione.
it's not Emma. Oh, that's what I thought
No.
you were going to say. Darn it.
Uh, Still trying to keep it with a younger vibe too. I actually, because I've seen her blonde, and I think she's also an incredible actress and versatile. I'm considering Rachel Brosnahan, Mrs. Maisel.
Okay.
So, but the whole New York thing, Fantastic Four, that all could work too. So, next up we've got Johnny Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. So this is gonna be a weird one for me. So traditionally, Johnny's the younger brother of Sue. So if I got Samara Weaving or Rachel Brosnahan, I'm probably have to cast a little bit younger. I went with Cole Sprouse, who plays Jughead on Riverdale. I think he's fantastic. He's fun, and when he actually hams it up and does some comedy, he's very good. And you need to have a very witty Human Torch.
I agree with that. And I actually, for some reason, I was thinking the brother was older. I don't know why I was thinking that, but I did think he was older. Maybe I just wanted this guy to play him so bad that I was going with it because my cast is like gorgeous. Not say magnifique with this hat on. If I could paint a picture, I would be doing it. This would be doing it justice. Henry Cavill.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
You just want to see Henry Cavill out of a t-shirt again, don't you?
well, listen,
Chris Evans did it plenty of times in the original movies.
it's funny, but I think seeing him in The Witcher, and then obviously he played Superman, so he's already been there, done that with the superhero things, right? I actually thought if not Johnny, then Silver Surfer maybe.
Okay.
Potentially as
Okay.
I don't really have a lot of things backing it up except for the fact that I like him and I think he should be in the movie.
Listen, if they bring Silver Surfer into it, I hope that they bring my buddy Doug Jones back, who played him in the first time around.
Yeah.
So, last up, Ben Grimm, The Thing. This was a tough one for me. You want to take this, or should I go first?
Yeah, I could go first if you want.
Go ahead.
So there's two. I was torn between two as well. The one is kind of obvious because I think they thought about casting him originally a while ago, but then I think he's been tapped to play Black Adam. But The Rock, I
Hmm.
mean, it just physically, I think he could bring that that fun to the character. But I know Ben's not fun, but he could bring that um, uh, I don't know, just that thing that you need, I guess, for that character where he's not like all gruff all the time. But I also really liked Colin Farrell in in the new Batman movie. And I
Okay.
thought, you know what? I didn't recognize him. The guy that I went to see the movie with, he didn't know it was Colin Farrell pretty much through the whole movie until I leaned over
Right.
and said, "Can you believe that's Colin Farrell?" And he was like, "What?" So I thought maybe Colin Farrell could pull it off as well because he is such a good character actor and he's proven it. So those are my two.
One of my favorite things in the Fantastic Four was always the relationship between the Human Torch and the Thing. They're constantly butting heads. They love each other, constantly pulling jokes on each other, and tussling around. So I needed someone that could be fun. And I see the Thing, if they're doing it, the Thing's going to be full CG. We're probably not going to see Ben Grimm often. So who do you cast who could be fun and have a voice to match the persona? And I went with Seth Rogen.
Okay.
He's got the demeanor. He's humorous, but I actually saw him in was it Pam and Tommy on Hulu, and he actually can do drama, with a humorous tone to it, and that's the fun. The fun lightning aspect that I want from a Fantastic Four movie. So I picked Seth Rogen to voice Ben Grimm.
I like it. I like that. That's a good pick. I also saw Pam and Tommy and he surprised me with his more serious side, if you will, but he still had that underlayer of humor, which just he brings to every character. So I really really enjoyed it. But all right, well those are our picks. We'll see what everybody else picks, I guess, when it comes out. Is there an anticipated film date for that or no?
No, not yet, not yet.
Hmm.
Hope I know it's part of the next phase, but I don't think we have a date yet. Well, you know what? Anybody in the comments, let us know who you want to see in this movie. You know, speaking of comments and YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to us here at Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. Helps us out, a bunch, and we appreciate to see who's actually enjoying the content, and we would love to interact with you.
Yeah, to follow us on Instagram too. We've posted it right below there. So you can add us and we'll, do our best also too. If you have ideas for future shows, it's always
You
fun.
you keep putting my handle up there. I'm not the social media guy. Maybe this is what'll get me to kind of get into like checking and interacting. All right, yeah, all right. I got to jump on that. I got to jump on that.
Well, I think this does it for our time today. But on behalf of beer lovers everywhere, it's Craft Beer Week. So thank you for that, Dr. Strange. I hope everybody has a chance to go out and see it. Ken, you
Totally
said
worth it.
there's another movie that actually the trailer just came out. Which one was that?
Oh, actually, yeah, just hit recently. And speaking of Fantastic Four too, this character was briefly a member of the Fantastic Four. We are getting the She-Hulk in August on Disney. I don't know. I mean, you haven't seen anything on this yet, right?
No.
All right. Well, then let me amaze you as we sign off. Actually, might as well just end on this and just say cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. Have a great week. And until next week, Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see you then.
See you at the happy hour.
Being a superhero is a trial by fire. Who's gonna protect the world if not people like you?
I'm Jennifer Walters. I'm a lawyer. I have great friends.
Can we get some shots, please? It's an emergency.
A demanding job.
We just started a superhuman law division, and I want you to be the face of it.
And a frustrating family.
Cause you didn't ask for this, but you still gotta deal with it. Your transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
Those are the baseline of any woman just existing.
Oh.
Brew, kind of feels like if I don't transform, I'm gonna die.
Yes, yes, yes. No, no.
I just want to be a normal, anonymous lawyer.
Can you tell us where She-Hulk is?
Jen, you're a story now.
Girl, your ass looks crazy right now.
You could be an Avenger.
Oh, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason. Is there anything more depressing than dating in your 30s?
Yeah, this is the best date I've had in a while.
Oh,
Should we split some fries?
let's get those to go.